What is up, everyone? Welcome to a special edition of the Renegade Roundtable. I'm Jeff Kirby. We've got Stone with us. And we also have a special guest with us. We have none other than Mr. Sam Highsmith, also the father of Steelers linebacker Alex Highsmith. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. I'm so happy. I feel so important to be invited to your show. I just tell people I'm done with a proud dad. Nothing special about me. Nothing at all.
Well, we appreciate a great father, and we also appreciate the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you add those two together, and we bring you. As you can see, Stone is representing the Highsmith family. And then me, I'm just representing a jersey I got in the mail 20 minutes ago. So but it's the same position. So it's just,
we got the future here, though. The future.
Comeback play of the year on one side, and let's hope most improved player. So there we go.
There we go. Yeah, this is, thank you so much for coming on with us. Obviously, it's been something we've been working on now for a little bit, and here we are. We are doing this during training camp, so this is it's getting fun. It's getting exciting. Football is almost here. The preseason game, the Hall of Fame game, is what, a week from today?
Exactly 1 week.
It's exactly because I live in the Cleveland area, so I'm gonna be about a half hour away from Canton, so. Might just have to make a little trip down there. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, let's get started. So I'll let Stone, ladies first, ask the first question.
Well, my questions are about Mr. Sam. I want to know, did you play sports in high school?
I played 1 year basketball. I was ninth grade, and I happened to, what can I say? I had a lot of talent and ability, but I didn't have a dad that he was a little older. And back in the 70s when I was growing up, there weren't as many opportunities to play all these other sports. I mean, I played 1 year of Little League baseball and never got to play football. Their parents wouldn't let me play. It made me so upset. But I love basketball and pretty much taught myself how to play in the backyard. I could jump like crazy. I could dunk a basketball with ease back in the day, and couldn't until I got in my early 30s, and after that it kind of went away. So that was it. That was me. I was a guy who loved sports. I ended up being a manager just to be around the teams. I got cut twice from the basketball team at my old high school. Didn't try out my senior, so that's enough. So I ended up being the manager for the team and went to Chapel Hill and actually tried out for JV basketball that year, which is one of my cool stories. And I got cut the first round, and Roy Williams was the head coach, and this was when Roy, I think it's probably his fourth or fifth year on the UNC staff. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to go talk to him and find out what I can work on for next year. So walked up to the basketball office, knocked on the door, and told the secretary I was here to see Coach Williams. Came out, we talked. He said, I told him, I said, hey, what do I need to work on for next year? And I want to try out again. And he told me, I might have made a mistake. So you come on out today, we'll give you another shot. And I was shocked that he did that. Mad respect for him. He was correct. At 6'2", and didn't have a consistent jump shot. I really wasn't a great dribbler. I was a tweener, being able to jump didn't really make it when you're going up against 6'7", 6'8", and when you're 6'2", and yeah. So that jumping ability didn't really help. So I didn't make it, and ended up being a cheerleader of all things. I had a good friend at Carolina who lived in the dorm next to me. She convinced me to try out and made that. And the irony, Roy Williams was one of the coaches. Him and Coach Guthridge. Back then, they didn't have cheerleading experts. They had people in the university. So those guys were judging me, and I made it. And I told Roy, I asked him afterwards, I said, well, thanks for giving me a shot. Do you remember me trying out for JV basketball last year and not making it? He said he didn't remember. I said, well, you gave me opportunity, and I'll never forget that. And I took that lesson on as a teacher and educator. You gotta give people a second chance. You just never know, and it just means so much. It meant so much to me. So
yeah,
that was it. The wife is probably the better high school athlete than I was. Yeah.
Is that where Alex gets it from then?
We like to joke about it because she does not take credit for it. But yeah, she played 3 sports. She was first team all conference in softball and volleyball, and honorable mention in basketball. So yeah, she's got a lit athletic ability.
All right. So I got some questions about Alex. I want to start off with his high school days because from what I was reading and stuff, he was not rated. And he obviously out of high school in 2015, he goes to Charlotte. At that time, not being rated, having to go to a smaller school, what kind of chip did that put on his shoulder, knowing his aspirations of going to the NFL? What kind of chip did that put on him to really work hard and make something out of going to a smaller school like Charlotte?
Well, Alex is your typical dictionary example of a late bloomer. When he was in 9th grade, he was probably 5'7". I think he ended up football on JV his sophomore year was 5'9". He was a little chunky then. Hormones hadn't kicked in. And then literally from the end of football season, sophomore to beginning of football season in his junior year, he grew a good 3 inches, if not 4. He was a solid 6 foot. By the end of that year, he was 6'1", and then he came into senior. He was as tall as me, 6'2". By the time he left, actually he was 6'3", a little over 6'3". So he's probably grown maybe a half inch since he left high school. But he played baseball and football all 4 years. He played basketball his senior year after he grew and thinned out and got really strong. So he played all 3 sports as a senior, which is really cool. He just owned the team as a JV player. And I was just excited for the opportunity for him to play. I mean, all of Pop Warner, all that was prepare him for the opportunity to play high school football. That's really all it was about. Nothing more, nothing less. And I was really worried he wouldn't play a whole lot when he made the varsity. I mean, the team he played for that had no football tradition. So I know he made the team. But he had that growth spurt and got in the weight room, fell in love with that. And one of the projected starters was in California all summer. So he got all the reps in the summer. And it was inside linebacker, wasn't even outside like he's doing now. So he earned a starting job, never gave it up. He made most improved on the team as a junior. So we were excited about his senior year. He had an amazing senior year. The team did not. The team was 0-10. But they didn't keep official stats, and I love the head coach to death, but there was no one doing that. He had well over 100 tackles. He was unanimous first team all conference, made all region. Furman University offered really the only scholarship slash funding there because they were RD, they're FCS, so they didn't get full scholarships. Davidson College was very interested as well, but Davidson College and academics is like where Dukes are, so he didn't get in Davidson. He didn't really want to go there. So we were between Furman and Charlotte, and the whole Charlotte connection was based on a common friend's son. The head coach at Hoggard High School in Wilmington. This is a very great football tradition here. That's actually Hoggard's where I graduated from. Their head coach's son was a graduate assistant at UNC Charlotte. So that was our end. He's not your typical D1 walk-on. A lot of those guys have offers everywhere else, but the school will only offer them a walk-on. We recruited them. They pulled this tape, looked at this tape, and we found out April, by the spring game, that they were going to give him a chance to walk on, but he wasn't preferred walk on. And that really got that chip. That started it. So he's sitting at home working still he worked at this furniture store here in town in the warehouse. He was mad about not being at camp with the guys in early August, really mad. So he went in with a chip. That chip is not left since then. And all I remember telling him was a simple thing. I said, son, you go out there and outwork every freshman there. I said, you go in there and show them they made a mistake not letting you come to camp early. I mean, so he was like, first day of school, he came there, just like any other Joe Blow off the street. He was a real walk-on. So I get a joke, I get a laugh out of some of these other walk-ons. They're walk-ons at FBS schools because they didn't want the scholarship offer somewhere else. And it just took off. I mean, scout team, as a true freshman. They redshirted him, obviously. He got a lot of good time doing that and made some good plays. And so his redshirt year, he was on special teams, and he was third in the depth chart at outside. They didn't call it an outside linebacker. That's basically what it is. He was defensive end / outside linebacker.
Like
by the end of the year, yes, by the end of the year, he was second on the depth chart and started his last game of the season. He ended up getting a sack in that game. So his first sack was his very first year's redshirt. And each year, a little more playing time. The third year was what really changed him. His redshirt junior year, new defensive coordinator came in, gentleman from Oklahoma State, and God, the name escapes me, but he's a wonderful man. Hope I remember it before the end of this podcast. Changed the format. He was actually, it's kind of like a D end. There were three up, then they had outside, but he was on that outside end. Got to three. I think he had 3.5 sacks that year, but got over 20 tackles for loss. I mean, he was killing it on that part of the ball. And then he went to a true outside linebacker position, and he just senior year, if you heard the stats, he was amazing.
Yeah. And I think too, in terms of him, being that standing outside linebacker, especially now here in Pittsburgh, where it's notorious for all the great players that you have that have been standing outside linebackers who are great or who have been great. TJ right now, and in the before James Harrison, Lamar Woodley, all those guys, and so it's good to see see Alex play that position where so many people have been great, where he could be destined to be in that list of those greats. And I believe he's going to do it. And that kind of leads to my next question is, how much does it really help him being around some amazing talent? You have guys like TJ, who's been in the running for Defensive Player of the Year the last couple of years. But last year, Bud Dupree, before he got hurt, he's been coming on in his career. Cam Hayward, who's been a consistent Pro Bowler, and all that. What was it like for him to learn from those guys to help improve his game?
I think he was excited about it from not just from the time of the draft. After he had his interview with Mr. Colvin and Coach Tomlin, he started talking about those players. And actually, I had heard of TJ, but hadn't heard of Bud at the time. Knew Hayward through his dad, so tell my age. So, I mean, I had a few names on the defense, but didn't really know as many until it got a little bit closer. And more I looked into them, I said, man, that's who we need to be drafted by. And once he got drafted, and he was telling me all the people who reached out to him through text, and I started doing some research. And I said, this is a great lineup to be around. He is a sponge, man. If he loves something, he's going to take it in. It's kind of like in school. With certain things, he loved math. He didn't love reading and language arts, any of that stuff. But we had a struggle with that. But if he loved it, he did it. He did it well, and he just loved this game. It's something like most kids. When you find success in something, kids and people in general like being good at something. So he found it and just took it to the next level. And Cam has been a great big brother. I mean, he took him under wings last year, and he would go with him to some of the non-practice conditioning or body therapy, whatever. They would do things together. He brought him in, and I actually thanked Cam at the celebrity softball tournament, thanking him for being a big brother and looking out for him. And people were real complimentary. One of the nicest things I remember, I liked something that Bud Dupree put on his Instagram, and he actually replied back to it and just said how he was impressed with my son and how hard he was working. I mean, most of the guys don't reply to things. I mean, but he did that. He took the time to do that, so that meant a lot.
Yeah. All right, Stone, I'll let you go next.
I think, I just want to chime out and say that I think that is such a wonderful thing. I mean, especially with, like you were saying, Alex had this chip on his shoulder. He wasn't really getting kind of what he was looking for, even though he was playing well. And then to come to this line with these veterans, and they are leading him on this path, especially if you have a chip on your shoulder. I think you can go down a wrong path, but he's with these guys who are showing him, don't be mad about it. Use it for fuel. Show them that you're better than that. And I think he's going to do amazing things because of that.
No, one of the other snubs, and I don't mind saying it. He had a couple of them in college. The first one to us, well, three of them. Let's go ahead and put it out there. I mean, I don't really care who's listening. I'm a dad, so obviously I'm a little biased. He didn't win Defensive Player of the Year in Conference USA, and the guy who beat him out was also in the same position. Great athlete out of Western Kentucky. I don't remember the guy's name, but Alex had better stats than him across the board. They were back and forth with sacks for most of the year. I think that guy finished with maybe 3 or 4 less, so he had a great year. But Dallas's tackles for loss were way ahead, but he didn't get that. Coach, and he's a third-team All-American, AP All-American. I tell him, but he didn't get Defensive Player of the Year. So we said, okay. He didn't get the walk-on. He didn't become a finalist for the walk-on trophy they give out each year. He was a semifinalist. And I was like, all right, that's cool. You know, that one wasn't as bad. I thought there was probably some more people. He outshowed all those guys at the combine, so I still think he should have won that. Oh my God, the third one. What's the third one? I forget that one. Third one's even better than those 3. Oh yeah, we kept waiting for that Senior Bowl invite. Waiting. I mean, Senior Bowl is a perfect opportunity for a small college guy to get up there with the other guys who are playing Power Fives, and kept waiting. We got the Shrine Bowl invite really early, and eventually he's like, you know what? Let's go to the Shrine Bowl, do your thing, and that was probably the biggest snub. And no disrespect, to this day I won't eat any Reese's candy. I know Reese's is just a sponsor, but I look at it, I can't eat it anymore. I won't.
You know what's funny? Quick story. You mentioned that about Reese's.
I applaud your dedication, though, to that you won't eat Reese's.
Here's a funny story real quick about Reese's. When I was 7 years old, 2006, my mom won a sweepstakes through Reese's, where they were going to take us. It was a paid trip. We were going to go down to Pennsylvania to a racetrack, and we were going to watch a race. We were going to see all the NASCAR guys. We were going to ride around in a NASCAR, and then we got to watch the race. And then after that, we would get a year's supply of Reese's. So every month we'd get this huge package of Reese's, and I would eat those so quick. And then it's like my love for Reese's kind of just went downhill because I ate it so much for a year. So that's kind of both. That's funny how we both kind of have gotten away from the Reese's.
Yeah, I need to let it go. It's kind of minor, but I don't know.
I don't know. I like the pettiness though. I like that. I mean, I don't know if you want to call it pettiness, but
it's just a chip.
I call it dedication, but
that too.
I knew that he could play with those guys. It wasn't even an option. I mean, and I think after his rookie year, his stats were so much better than a lot of the guys, other DNs who were there, outside linebackers. It wasn't even close. So it's like, it's all good.
I mean, it's hard for me to imagine Alex not being appreciated in a way, because I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know who he was when he first got here. I didn't, especially when you have such a powerful defense. Anyways, it's kind of hard. But when he stepped up last season, let me tell you, he shook me. Like, I was just like, oh, okay. He can play. So if he was playing at that level in high school and college, how would you miss that?
My philosophy on the high school thing is, I think most of their schools, particularly your FBS level, and even some of the other FCS, they recruit those guys from sophomore year on, and they give a lot of their offers out by their 11th grade. So there aren't many offers left as seniors. And I think by then, particularly when the team was 0-10, there wasn't a whole lot. There was nothing. You can watch it, you can see that he was. I mean, he's playing out of position. He's 6'2", playing inside, running all over the field, and it's funny. Some of the coaches say, if I was a coach, I would have had him on the end. I was like, well, yeah, true, but then I'm playing against you on offense. I'm running away every time. I mean, you kind of had to utilize him as the best athlete on the team. They kept him in the middle, and it was good.
Yeah, because when you look at his frame, it's also he may not be built like James Harrison, who is an absolute genetic freak of nature, but you can tell by the way he's built that if you need him to step out into coverage and play in the flats, he definitely can do that. But he also he has the strength, but it's also his speed, the way he with his hands. That
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, the way and that's something I love. is when the ability of people being able to use their hands and not just be a bull rush or, because
he's not just a wall like you think defense. Like a lot of people hear defense and like, oh, it's a wall. He's extremely quick.
Yeah, it's twitchy, athletic, explosive.
Yeah,
that's a good
one.
And also, and it helps too with the fact that when you get to learn, like we talked about earlier, learning from guys like TJ Watt, who has become one of the best, if not, in my opinion, the best pass rusher in the National Football League. Yes, I'm saying that to you, Browns fans. But just being able to learn from guys like that, who has the brother of JJ Watt, who's one of the best defensive players that we've seen in my lifetime. So being able to have that around you is phenomenal. And I'm excited to see how many people in Steeler Nation is actually excited to see what Alex does. And they know that he can have a lot of success in this defense. And I believe he's going to do that.
One of the nicest compliments he received was from Larry Ogunjobi, who played D tackle for the Browns for those years, where Larry was a senior and Alex was a freshman at Charlotte. And so I've known Larry for a long time. And when Larry's been in that room with Myles Garrett, knows what Myles can do. And so the compliments he gives Alex tells me that he has the ability to be exceptional.
Right. One of my other questions is, what was the biggest thing that Alex wanted to work on in the offseason to get better for this season?
Just strength. I think he also wanted to try to work on speed, but it was about getting stronger without getting any slower. He wanted to just put on enough muscle without any extra weight. So he ended up getting a personal chef when he was working out this summer outside of Charlotte. It was about lean and muscle. And at the top where he was probably close to 255. He might have been at 256 occasionally. I think right now he's around 253 or so. And we'll see what the heat does to that weight. I'm still waiting for Steelers to update the player profile on their page. They still have him as 242. That was his combine weight. He hasn't been 242 and I don't know when. He played last year at below 250, so he's.
Now, I've seen some of the recent training camp pictures, and he's like, I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain this without sounding crazy. He's big, but he's lean, and like you were saying, like I think that's gonna be a big thing because it's gonna keep that speed, but it's gonna make him harder to move and harder when he comes at you. I think, like you were saying, I think he achieved his goal. I mean, he looks bigger, but he doesn't look slower.
Hope that, because the first game's against Buffalo. I mean, obviously preseason, but no, first game against Buffalo, and that was one of his first games last year as a starter. So I'm hoping the left tackle remembers him from last year.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be a little surprised.
Maybe we can get him on the show and ask him how.
I'm not going to say he's going to dominate. I'm not going to say that, but he is not the same player that played in that game back in December.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another question. Here's a question I have for you. Alex Highsmith, he had his first youth football camp this year. How much did that mean for him to be able to actually go out and have a football camp and teach the next generation of great football stars?
I'm writing something real quick. Something that's popping in my head to do later. It was so important because we always attended those things when he was young. I was assistant principal at the school where he graduated from. I was there the first 6 years it was open, which would have been from the time he was in preschool up until, what grade was he in? Third grade. So he was, he would go to all the games, and him and his buddies every weekend, every Friday night, they'd be in the end zone playing football. Behind the end zone, behind the end zone, throwing and playing. They're playing tackle sometimes, which you would have to break up. But he was so competitive out there with those guys. And to go from there to 20 years later, out there hosting his camp and seeing the kids, it was amazing. We had like 330 kids. My wife and my daughter, and Allison's fiance, and a couple other close friends were at the table doing registration. And one of the coolest things, my wife said she broke down and cried at least 3 times as people came up. But heard one of the kids say, "Is he really here? He's here." they just thought that he was sponsoring the camp. So they were like shocked. Some of them were that he was actually there. And the local newspaper, local TV did a really cool story. They interviewed 2 or 3 of the kids, and they were excited. And to hear 2 of them say, he shows that, if I work hard, it's something I can do. And it's all about giving back. And I mean, me and my wife are both educators, and that's something that we knew and we took on. And I mean, she's still a teacher. I'm officially retired November 1st. I'm on leave now, but we know that inspiring youth and giving them an opportunity to excel and believe in themselves is probably the most important thing. Give them that hope. That's important. So he and my daughter, that's just something you do. I mean, and the fact that he can do this and use his celebrity to inspire people, and yeah, that was just the first thing we're doing. But yeah, we're going to be that. The camp was amazing.
I love it. I think that's fun. Like you were saying, like, inspiring the youth and showing them that if you work hard, you can go places. Yeah, because a lot of kids don't have that.
This is what I tell him, and because he talked to the football team last year. Now we're going to go back. Hopefully, luckily, his open date this year is a home football game for his old school. So hopefully he can attend that and talk to the guys before. But my thing is, you might work your butt off as hard as you work, and you might not get to the NFL. But what you do and work, what it'll get you along the way will be priceless, and it'll help you as an adult. And that's the most important thing. So that's what we try to tell them. And that's one of the things the foundation is going to work on, mentoring and having kids work hard and just shooting for those goals. So
I'm glad you got to have that camp, though. Like, especially if it meant that much to him and to give back and to your family as a whole, to be able to do that, especially like now with everything that, all this craziness going on in the world, to just have that moment for those kids I'm glad that he got to experience that.
And we had almost 100 that were registered from, they were disadvantaged, where we had like the schools and the principals give us names. We got names from some of the community brigade club. We got names from the summer school program. So we gave opportunities to kids to go who might not have been able to afford to go. So that was also special. That will be an annual event. And we're hoping to do some other things. Some things in Pittsburgh and eventually in Charlotte where he went to school. So while we're talking about this, as long as you don't mind me saying this, we partner with a school in the Pittsburgh area. Can't remember the exact name of the school, but he's doing something for the 5th graders there. There's going to be a backpack giveaway that he's going to be doing for them here in the beginning of August. And that's just a start. We met with the principal and said, no, we're going to work with you and do what we can to help where you need help. I mean, that's doing these things is my retirement job. This is what I'm going to be running. What do you want to do, son? I'll make it happen and we'll get it done.
And that's great. I mean, that's the future.
Yeah, I love it. I love seeing people give back. I know last year, the station that we're on here, we a couple of us, we did like instead of a Toys for Tots, we did something like that, but for the elderly. And it was really cool to be able to give back to those. Like, we had people nominate someone that would be able that maybe could use some of the help, and that we would, we knocked on their door and, we would give them some of the stuff. Obviously, COVID safely, being safe during COVID, but it was really cool to see a lot of the reactions that people had and how grateful people are. And that's what fuels you to want to do that more and spread positivity in a world that's so negative.
And it truly is good.
It's different when you want to do it rather than, because that's my issue. Some people do good, but then they start blasting it on social media, and then that becomes the point of, are you doing it because you want to do it and be a good person, or are you doing it for the clicks?
That's the thing that I liked about, Alex's camp is I noticed you did share it, to get people to sign up and stuff, but it wasn't like this big stunt, where people just constantly push it on you, and you've got these commercials and you've got, what I mean, where it's like, look at me and look at what I'm doing. It was, we're sharing it so you know about it, and then that's it. We're not pushing it. So he was truly doing it for the kids. And like the stuff Juju does and the stuff some of these players do, and it's all under wraps. It's not, all over the internet and you see it in magazines. They're just doing it because they're just trying to be good people.
Yeah, and the only reason there was media there is because his agent sent out press release.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't contact any of the people, and I know people at both of the stations, being from Wilmington here and growing up here. I didn't do that. We got the camp approved 2 days after school was out because it was the delay of renting facilities based on the COVID regulations. So we were late, so we couldn't even get flyers out in the school. So our turnout was based on social media, mine and his, and word of mouth. That's it. We had that many people come. So man, it was. My goal is 500 every year. I mean, we're gonna make it, and we're actually. And this I don't mind saying. There are a couple things we're gonna do and keep it secret, but I want next year to do probably the next day. I don't think we can get it all in one day. Have a special needs sports camp as well.
Love it.
Because there were some that, do you have people that are helping? We didn't. There was one lady whom the mom actually is with her child, and we allowed that for this time. But he loved it. The mother messaged me back. She was a former student when I was the AP at the school, and saying all he talks about is football now. He wants to be like Alex. And it was just so cool. So we're going to do a sports camp for special needs kids, hopefully that same weekend next year. And we're just, opportunities and having fun. And it's I was one of these that got into teaching because I wanted to coach. I wasn't one that I want to be this great teacher and I want to coach. I wanted to coach. Right. So I had to figure out how to be a teacher. So that part to me was being extracurricular and being involved with kids is why I became an educator and eventually became a principal. But I definitely want to enjoy that part. So yeah, we're excited about that. Sorry, that was a little bit long.
Oh,
no, you're fine.
Yeah, you're good. No, we love promoting good and positivity here on the Renegade Roundtable. Do you got anything else, Stone?
No, I mean, I just I'm just so happy to see an all around, genuinely nice family, that has values, and that's no disrespect to anybody else, but it's nice to come on here and talk to you and see that based off our interaction with you, I see not only good things on the field, but off the field from Alex. I think that he's going to be a fantastic player, but also just a good person. And congratulations to him on getting engaged, by the way.
Yeah, they were friends for I want to say 3 years before they actually started dating, which is really good too. Met through FCA, so they both have that common interest there. It's been good, and I'm kind of happy found someone he knew for a long time before he just kind of met some of these people up there who wanted to date Alex Highsmith as opposed to
especially as he climbs the ladder, and his name gets out there more. It's like we were talking about with the veterans. I'm glad that he has these good paths to go down as he becomes more famous and more skilled in his field. He's on the right path for success.
And we know, I mean, it's just like anything else. The love is there because he's been successful and he's playing for a good team, and let him get hurt and he's out of it. I won't say he'd be forgotten, but there was a cool. This is one of my favorite stories. And at some point, I plan on writing something. I love to write, and I'll get you to edit.
I got you. Don't worry about it.
We're definitely we might talk off air about this, but one of the best stories was when he was at Ashley. I remember, as a freshman, he was so nervous and scared. So he would go up in his mom's room instead of hanging out with the kids before school started in the area they called. I forget the area they called, but he wasn't there. Socially, that wasn't him. He was up there. Then all of a sudden, he's a senior. Oh, he's a big man. He was homecoming king. He was the prom king. And I remember telling him, probably after football, I said, man, this is pretty cool. This feels pretty good how they're they love you, don't they? Say, yeah, it's kind of cool. I said, don't ever forget these the same kids that didn't talk to you when you were a freshman. And I paused. I said, don't ever be mean. Don't ever forget that as you become better at this, there are gonna be people. So just kind of be careful. Mm-hmm. So he's not one of these standoffish people, but he also knows, you're nice, but just be careful.
Mm-hmm.
Just be careful.
Yeah, that's something that I had to learn doing this kind of thing for now close to 3 years. And I'm still I feel like I'm still very low on the totem pole, but it's the same thing. I'm trying to grow in this industry of, sports radio, sports podcasts, and all that. And I even had people come up to me and say, I love what you do and all that. And people will start to try to. I had a couple people that were trying to be friends with me, and then I find out they were just trying to do it for in case I become famous, and then they know someone. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. And it's weird, but it's also cool to have people say, I'm inspired by what you do. And obviously Alex, and the level he's at, there's so many people that do that. But then there's the people who just want to be with you because of the money and the fame, which it's sad, but it's a harsh reality.
And the beauty of who he is, when I was there last, that was the weekend of the celebrity softball tournament. And every place we went to eat, no one said anything to him. We went in Target, no one said anything. We were at the mall, no one said anything. So it's kind of nice that he's not known yet. I mean, you look at him and go, he's kind of big. He must be something. So you got those looks. But we were at Muster Park up in Cedar Point. We went there that was my Father's Day gift, one of my Father's Day gifts. And we went there. Whole time, only one person spoke. And then another father and son who were behind us on the ride, they walked by and spoke as well. But only one person asked for a picture. That was it. Whole time. We went to the Hall of Fame because his fiance lives like an hour, 45 minutes, an hour away. Went to the museum because obviously he won't be able to go with me next week, and no one said a thing in the museum. So that was good. And the lady at the front desk said, "Y'all sports fans, football fans?" I said, "Yeah, we enjoy this." And then I walked away. I said, "No, if your grandmother would have been there, she would have had to say something." And we both just laughed. Yeah. And then outside, we were wanting the picture, and older couple was there. They took a picture of us in front of the big sign. I just thought about something. I have not posted any of those pictures from the Hall of Fame week coming. I think it's time to post those. Totally, I got posted. Took 100 pictures. So the mother, the lady asked, "Where are you? You guys play?" And the man said, "You play football, right?" I said, "Yeah, yes, sir, I do." He said, "Where do you play?" So he told them, and they both smiled. They didn't go goo gaga, but it was just nice, and said, "Yeah, we're proud," and that was it.
One thing I'm interested at the fact that you said that, what was it, his fiance lives, like you said, 45 minutes away from the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Something like that, yeah.
It's interesting because I live 45 minutes away from the Hall of Fame, so now I'm curious. I mean, now it's like,
oh, I don't mind telling you, because you can Google it and find it. It's
no. I wasn't going to say to tell or anything, especially not on air, but I found that intriguing. I'm like, oh, okay, so there's something else there. Except I would think it's 45 minutes, a whole different way.
Her family grew up. They're Browns fans, so we're not going to convert them. But they pull for Alex when they're playing. So that Cleveland game we didn't go to last year. We won't go to this year. We'll let his family attend those games. At some point, we'll get to the game at Cleveland. But
yeah, I'm sad. I've only been to 2 Brown Steelers games, and they've both been in Cleveland. And it's crazy because one of them was the tie in 2018. Mm-hmm. And then the other one was the Myles Garrett, Mason Rudolph game. So I'm like, oh, so those are just 2 very interesting games to go to. But hopefully the goal is to get to a game at Heinz Field this year. So, and I'm hoping to get to a game at a training camp, or get to training camp, not.
Me and my wife are going to go the Saturday and Sunday after the Hall of Fame. We're going to stay up there in the Pittsburgh area and then go to those 2. But I was going to go this week. But I had so much going on. Plus, my body needed to rest. I said, no, I'm not going to do all that extra driving. I'm a driver. I'm not going to jump on a plane, waste that money. Well, it's not waste. Spend that extra money.
Yeah.
And I just get in the car and take the time and enjoy the countryside as we go.
Well, I can see the opponents for next year. And the Steelers are playing in the Carolinas next year. So.
Oh, so like a game, not a oh, my goodness.
Yeah, like a game.
That's going to be that's going to be a tough ticket. That's going to be a tough ticket. And the funny thing, people ask now about tickets, and I'm just really nice and say, I haven't heard anything. I don't know what he can get because I'm not going to promise anybody anything outside the family. Then because just can't.
Yeah. And that goes back to what you said before about the people trying to be with or be friends with you for the name and for the fame, and that's another thing. People just try to use you for tickets and all that, and And in reality, it should be just about the family and maybe very close friends. But that would be one thing if I was a professional athlete I'd be annoyed about, is all the people asking for tickets, and that would be very annoying.
Well, and he won't share with us who asked, and I'm glad he doesn't. I'm sure there are a lot of people, and he's been respectful. And there are some friends, like we went to the Cowboys game, and there was a guy who played at Charlotte who lived in Texas, and he was there. So it was just me, my wife, and him. Um, I have distant relatives that are in that area, but none of my close family. And so I don't know.
It's different if
friends
you
in
have
Los
that
Angeles.
extra ticket. You should be able to pick and choose who you bring. If you want to treat somebody to that, then that's your prerogative. People shouldn't just reach out
And no one's been ugly about it. And I've given
yeah.
everyone the same answer, and they respect that. I told people I have not changed because I don't have any money. I make a joke, and I don't have any money. That's my son's money, and I wouldn't ask him for any of it. But it's his stuff. I can't promise you him. But I shared a request. I say so and so said, I'm just letting you know they asked, and so if he says, "Oh, sure, I can do that," then we'll give it to him. But they're nice. They are good people, and that's one of the joys of this. I mean, he has his close friends. Two of them live up there in Pittsburgh, and not with him, but they live in Pittsburgh, and those guys get priority. And obviously, his fiance and their family, then our family, and neither one of his aunts have been to a game. His cousin, who's our dentist in North Carolina, her and her family haven't been. So those people have the priority this year, and then we'll see after that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was a hell of a time talking to you, and hopefully we'll be able to do this again soon. Thank you, like I said, again for coming on. Great insight, and go Steelers.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. Yep. Get that.
Oh yeah.
Getting that towel going. I'm gonna get it ready for next Thursday, baby. Woohoo!
Oh yeah. So everyone, we are going to take a quick break. We got to get, all the technical stuff going again, and then we will be back. So yeah, we're going to take a quick break, but we will be right back here on the Renegade Roundtable. So be right back. All right.
You know me, I'm always down.
All right, 3, 2, 1. And welcome back to the Renegade Roundtable. Obviously, yeah, we took a little bit longer of a break than we were expecting, but you know, it's always great to have conversations with Mr. Sam. Thank you again for coming on. That was a hell of a time, and thank you, Zay. I did see your comment. He said hell of an interview, so thank you for that. Which is funny because we actually have another interview next week as well. We have Jesse Marshall from The Athletic coming on. So all the Penguins fans, that's your time.
We've got some things we want to say.
Yeah, because there's, holy hell, has there been some things.
We've got some things we want to talk about.
Or you got to discuss. But let's continue on. We have a couple minutes here before the show ends. Well, let's talk about let's break down a little bit about what Mr. Sam said. Obviously they're doing a lot of great stuff with their foundation. That's in their football camp. That's fun.
Yeah,
I'm very excited to see how that continues to grow next year and beyond, especially once we get out of COVID. Mm-hmm. Hopefully by this time next year we'll be a lot farther ahead than we are right now. That's obviously the goal, but
so we can get these kids in sports camps and let them live their best lives.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Move that over there. There we go. But yeah, it was interesting to learn a little bit about him, but also learn about Mr. Sam, and then also learn about Alex as well. I was interested to interested to hear about him. I was going to ask, and I never did, about what the reaction was of him getting drafted in the whole draft process. Maybe we'll have to save that for the next time if there's a second time. But yeah, just learning about him being able to learn from guys like TJ Watt, he's obviously he's going to be a beast. We all know this. And then obviously there's some different stuff that we can get into non-interview related, because I have one comment I do need to make regarding Steeler Nation, because some of y'all are irritating me a little bit. But
oh Lord.
Hey, you should be proud of me though. Real quick, off topic. You should be proud of me because I was very optimistic. I made a Ben Roethlisberger optimism tweet a couple days ago. That wasn't great vocabulary, great English, so bear with me on that. But yeah, it was yesterday.
I've been a little bit off of Twitter because I was on, my deadline. So I wasn't really on Twitter. So when I would take a break, I would come and check, and it was literally, no matter what I was doing, it was a dumpster fire. So I would just close it out. And I was like, so I never saw your tweet, and I'm sorry, but it was just the rest of Twitter was so scary. I had to run away. Did you see the picture of Ben in the white tank top shirt, and he's looking a little slender? I think so, yeah. I said, you should be proud of me. I made a tweet that was very optimistic. I said, this man is about to make all of the media look like complete dummies. 2018 Ben is coming back, where he threw for 5,000 yards. Because I never would have thought you would say that. I'm so shocked right now. Caleb's not going to believe it either. That's another thing too. Obviously, we don't have Caleb with us today. We didn't mention that earlier. I apologize, Caleb. That was my fault. Wow. Hey, he got put in the penalty box this week, just like how you were last week. I know. We're in power play for 2 weeks straight, but see, you should be proud of me. I'm using actual hockey terms. You're so smart. I'm learning. Look, you're so smart. The whatever you want to call it, the steams in my brain are starting to smoke with hockey. Stop it. Get out. I will here in a couple minutes. But well, real quick, I do need to make a comment about something that's been going on. And I know you've probably have heard of the trade rumors about Dolphins corner Xavier Howard. Mm-hmm. And I see a bunch of people saying, let's trade for him. I have two things I need to say to that. One, oh God, here we go. One, I don't think it's going to happen. For the fact that he's looking for a new contract, and you look at, yes, we're going to have, I believe, $73 or $74 million in cap next year. Great, awesome, fantastic. Do you also realize you got to pay TJ Watt
a lot of money too. You also realize here within the next year or two, you're going to have to worry about Minka Fitzpatrick. Those are going to be two very Minka's going to be up there, but TJ Watt's contract is going to be big because you look at the pass rushers, the contracts. I believe Myles Garrett's the highest paid one. I believe he's going to overtake that, or he's going to be right around there with Nick Bosa, and that's
let me time out with you real quick while you're saying that. Just time out. Because I've got to get this off my chest. You know how I feel. I'm wearing Alex's jersey. We love some Alex Highsmith, but if they don't pay TJ his money, that will be the day that I turn into you. And I'm like, I don't trust anything. I don't believe anything. I'm not trusting the system. Because you know me, I'm always like, have faith. It's fine. We're gonna do it. But if they don't run TJ his money, I'm out. It's not we anymore. I'm out. Count me out. Podcast over.
Oh, so if we don't pay him, well, it looks like the Renegade Roundtable is either looking for a new host or it's over. It's a wrap.
Because that would be such a betrayal because TJ Watt is worth every penny of what he deserves.
They're going to pay him. I have no question in the back of my mind. They're obviously going to pay him. But it's just, you got to be a little frugal with your money as well.
Yeah.
Because now, not only would that make your secondary that much better because Xavier Howard is one of the better corners in the league, but I also think too, if you look in the history of the Steelers the last however many years it's been, one of the ways they typically try to booster the secondary is by adding more pass rush. What did they do just this year? They added more pass rush. That's something that they've typically always done because obviously if you get to the quarterback so quickly, your secondary doesn't have to cover that much. And I'm not going to say that our secondary is absolute boo-boo butt cheeks, but it's...
Stop.
But it's not the top. It's not a top secondary in the league. But it's very good for what we're doing. But I also think it complements with the pass rush. When you have a great secondary, it helps the pass rush. When you have a great pass rush, it helps the secondary. That's basic football 101. But it's something that I don't see us doing. And I think people are just looking at the name. And yes, we are going to go a couple minutes over. So this is a special edition of the Renegade Roundtable. But yeah, I just don't see it happening. And also, real quick, I just thought of something else I need to get off my chest.
Oh, God.
Ladies and gentlemen, earlier this week, we had a Twitter account who tweeted out and said, my wish list, and decided to go and wish a bunch of injuries on Cleveland Browns players. Now,
that's disgusting.
Now, I believe everyone, maybe not though, because I see Dean was in the comments. He's a diehard Browns fan, but that's my guy. Also, promote him here in a second. I don't care what team you root for. I don't care what team you hate. For me, I hate the Browns. I hate the Ravens. I hate the Bengals. I hate the Michigan Wolverines. I hate the Yankees. But you're not going to catch me wishing injury on them. Because do people also realize that they are humans? They have lives outside of football. They have families. That would be like, for an example, we just got done talking to Mr. Sam, who's a father.
Whatever you're about to say, don't even speak it into existence.
Well, people wishing injury on people is the most disgusting, scummish thing that you can do. And if you truly mean that, and there are people that I know who will try to claim, they'll go crazy on social media and all that because it happened to their team, but God forbid, I have receipts on people. So some of y'all are hypocrites. But
people that legitimately wish ill will on other players, especially because obviously that we as Steelers fans we get in our feelings. We feel a certain way. We get very emotional.
We get in
I
our
could
2010 Drake feelings, but you know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I would never wish ill will, like injury or anything like that on any player of any team, regardless. People that want that are like when you pick up the trash bag and like liquid comes out and you're not really entirely sure what that mixture of liquid is because it's your garbage. That's what those people are. They're wet trash.
And I don't care if it's a 14-year-old that was running a little Stan account. News for you, bucko.
This ain't it.
Yeah, karma is a bitch. That's all I'm saying.
We choose violence. Steelers fans choose violence. So
especially in the Renegade Roundtable, we choose violence. The Violence Incorporated CEO A. Stone at A Dark Knight on Twitter.
I just need to change my bio to the CEO of violence.
You probably should. I mean, my bio is a pretend media member, so
we've moved on from that. We're living a new life now.
That is true. But other than that, is that all we got?
I mean, I think that's it.
Mr. Highsmith just followed me on Twitter, so thank you.
You're winning at life.
Thank you for that. But yeah, I think that's it. Obviously, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Mr. Highsmith, for coming on again. Next week, all the Penguins fans, be here or be square, as we will be talking Penguins. So I'll be sitting here looking like a lost puppy.
I can't believe you just said that.
What? That we're gonna be talking Penguins?
Be there or be square.
Be there or be square. You're disgusted with me. I can tell you are very disgusted with me.
Be there or be square. Like,
be there or be the opposite of what my head is shaped like. But other than that, that's a different story. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We will all be back next week. Hopefully, Kale will all be the three Stooges plus one will be back. The three Renegades will be back. So
finger guns, because you said be there or be square. So now it's finger guns.
But all right. I'm Jeff. She's Stone. Have a great weekend. Peace out.
Bye.